thrown his hat into the ring to run for presidency.
Yeah, that's another big problem with our system is why is it only certain families? I got to admit, I was very shocked to see Bush get knocked out of the race because I thought with that surname he was a shoe-in, but I guess people, as Barbara Bush said, maybe people have had it with the Bushes. I don't know, but it does seem like it's the same group of folks over and over again.
With the same name. Now, if you take the surname away, then you're seeing it's the same establishment guy.
Yeah.
Or what are we going to see at the convention? The Republican Party say, you know what, it's been fun, but we want Romney back. Then what? What's that going to say to the voters?
Right.
This whole time, our votes are just to be there to justify them in power, that it really didn't matter in the end. And hence, that's when that Second Amendment kicks in, where it looks like you keep a reminder, whether you agree with a person or not, stand by their Bill of Rights. Because in the end, we saw what they're doing with the TPP agreement. They're not listening to anybody. They're pushing something that no one wants through.
Right. Right. Well, and mainly by not telling people about it, because, other than our show, there is no other media talking about it. None.
Right.
And it's so funny. We talk about, endorsements and so forth. Meanwhile, Caitlyn Jenner just came. You hear that? Caitlyn Jenner came out endorsing Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
Now, that kind of story will make the news, but not the TPP. And I don't even understand why Caitlyn Jenner is relevant, period. I'm like, and she came out saying, she wants to be the ambassador, tranny community ambassador for Ted Cruz. I'm like, do you even think Ted Cruz cares about your community at all? I mean, he's an evangelical Christian. I don't think he's as down with your community as Kim Davis is with gay marriage. I mean, get real. So it's almost like people just trying to get attention.
Well, yeah, that whole Kardashian clan is all about attention.
Look at me.
Caitlyn and Kanye, and I mean, they're really desperate for attention. But that brings up a good point, because you figure, all right, so whatever candidate on any party, there's going to be people who like that person, which is contradictory to that person. It's like, and then that group that like for instance, okay, let's talk about Caitlyn, all right? The lesbian gay community. Oh, wait a minute. Cruz, he's a conservative, he's a guy on the right. That's not, that can't be possible. You got to go on the left. You got to go with liberals. No. You could say, I'm gay, but I want to go with the Republican.
And what bugs me about Caitlyn in particular is ever since she won Woman of the Year, I'm like, but you're not a woman. But that's a whole other issue that really ticked me off. But she comes out as if she's representing the LGBT community, when in reality she's done zero for the LGBT community. And she said, oh well, we need jobs. I'm like, Caitlyn, honey, the reason you can't get a job is because the only skill you had was running the 1976 track and field Olympics. What is it you're actually qualified to do? Nothing, But to me, it's kind of like when Beyonce came out doing that dance at the Super Bowl. And, and to me, I was kind of like, Beyonce did that as a publicity gimmick to promote her upcoming tour, because the same thing, neither she nor Jay-Z do anything for the black community. I mean, as a matter of fact, her husband, Jay-Z, helped Bruce Ratner and other real estate developers take homes from black homeowners to build the Barclays Center for a Russian gas mogul.
Really?
Yes, and I love this because people in Brooklyn say, oh, well, Jay-Z owns the Nets. I'm like, Jay-Z owns 0.0008% of the Nets. That's not even 1%. And Nets are actually owned by Russian gas mogul Mikhail Prokhorov, and they used Jay-Z to gain support, to use eminent domain to take homes away. Absolutely. So I'm like, well, where are you saying Black Lives Matter then?
So the former drug dealer sold out.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Welcome to the truth. Welcome to my show.
And
You know, the other thing I saw him. It was the craziest thing. He was saying about this was a while ago, and he was talking about racism and all this other stuff, and he's wearing a shirt of Che Guevara, the guy who hated blacks. I'm like, how are you talking like that and you're wearing that shirt?
it's, you know, to me, it's like when you have Beyonce again came out on stage earlier at another performance with the word feminist in gigantic letters. And actually, Annie Lennox, remember from the Eurythmics,
Yeah.
Annie Lennox came out and with some very strong words against that and said, how are you a feminist? You're prancing around stage half naked. Like that's not sending a feminist message, you know? If I think of a feminist musician, I would say, you know, Pat Benatar or Chrissy Hine. I wouldn't think of a woman who's got to show her booty to, you know, millions of people to sell albums.
I like that taste in music, by the way. They're very good.
But yeah, so it's really interesting that these are the topics that people are talking about, and not the TPP. Not, you know, I think, you know, as a matter of fact, I think it was only discussed once in one of the Republican debates, where, believe it or not, Trump was the only person who knew that at this time China was not part of this, because none of the other candidates did.
I'm telling you. I mean, and Trump's also against Monsanto. I mean, there's some things, you know, where
Trump's ties are made in China, which I got to call him on that one.
But then, you know, we covered that when we did the whole the slave thing with
right.
Kathy Gifford and Nike. I mean, you know, this, you know. Well, him, he's just, to him, I think that was just a business move. Everyone else was doing it. He didn't create NAFTA. He didn't okay it, you know? So he just did business like everyone else did. So it'd be pretty rough to blame it all on Trump when meanwhile everyone else is doing it.
Well, that may be true, but then you can't come out saying, oh, I'm going to make America great again when your own company is outsourcing stuff to China or, you know, keep it real, keep it real.
No, it is, but when that stuff's being brought up to you, remember like when it happened with Kathy Gifford?
Yeah.
It was brought up to her and she was like, what? And she had
Although she's another one that kind of did a 180, because I remember she actually went to Congress and testified and said, you know, mea culpa, I'm not doing that again. And then she and Huda are on the show drinking their Chardonnays, their daytime wine drinking, and they're promoting brands, you know, they're featuring brands on their show like Joe Fresh, Old Navy, H&M, all these brands that we know are made with slave labor. So I'm like, hey, Kathy, did you forget about that? You know?
Because it's not her. It's not her.
Well, you know,
it's her company. I'm sure if we send her a copy of the show, let her know that she's doing it again. You know,
we should. You know, we need to call people out on their BS. You know, we do.
but things will switch, and for, you know, being a New York show, not for nothing, but there's a lot of great wines on Long Island. They don't need to promote those other wines.
Yeah, that's true.
Long Island, France and California. So
right. Well, you know, there is a degree of ethics there, you know, because I try to, you know, when I do events, and I used to do fashion events and so forth, I try to find, well, first of all, I like to work with up and coming entrepreneurs to give that little mom and pop business, you know, a leg up, because, you know, I say, you know, Calvin Klein doesn't need my help. Tommy Hilfiger, Ralph Lauren, they don't need me. So let's give the little guy a chance, you know, the entrepreneur who's really trying to get going. But, you know, I would vet every single person. You know, is this person, you know, my issue is green and the environment. How is this person making their clothing? Is it made out of rayon or some petroleum? And how and where? And every single one of the people I worked with over when I was doing fashion shows, they all made their garments here in the United States. So you can make sure that they were, you know, paying their workers a real wage, you know, so there has to be some responsibility there, and people need to be called out on their BS, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where's Apple made again?
Oh, speaking of people running sweatshops, Apple has had some real issues going on with the Apple. We had Romney versus Trump and Cruz versus Trump, and now we got Apple versus the FBI.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, and I've told people many times, I'm not a fan of Apple, but I'm actually going to come down on Apple's side on this one.
Give them the background so they know what we're talking about.
This goes back to basically the FBI is trying to get Apple to unlock the phone that was used by the San Bernardino terrorists. That's the story. That's the government story. now,
Put that in.
now, as you pointed out, Dean, it sounds simple. It's not the same as a judge issues a warrant to search your home because they think you're a meth dealer or something. That's very simple. You get the warrant from the judge and you knock down the door and search for whatever you're searching for. But as you were explaining previously, you were telling me this is a lot more detailed. This actually involves Apple having to create a program to unlock this. So it's not, this is something that, first of all, could take a lot of time, but is definitely going to take a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And in fact, when they do it, it's actually a step-by-step process. It goes from one unit to another to another. So it's got to be reviewed, signed off on, passed along, and then the other part of the company handles it, reviews it, signs off, and there's a big paper trail. They're not going to do this just for one.
Oh, yes.
Phone.
So that's the story the government said.
What's happening here is another assault on our amendments where giving up too much privacy for security.
Security, right.
They can hack into you or me anytime.
Because, first of all, once this program is created, then they can use it for anybody's phone, not just, and again, their argument was, well, this is so we can get into this couple from San Bernardino. I'm like, well, they're gone now. Why are we, what useful information are you going to find on their phone that really justifies this? Because first of all, they weren't part of ISIS. They may have been like ISIS wannabes or sympathizers or whatever, but they weren't part of any official group. And all of a sudden, I think now other states and other attorney generals have made the same request of Apple. Now as many as 100 phones are trying to break into. So, first you went from this one phone to now it's 100 phones?
The snowball, yeah. And with all this hacking that's going on, no one can hack into the phone.
Right?
I mean, really?
And then you have to... you really have to question, where does this information go? We saw with the NSA, and I am a big fan of Edward Snowden. I think Edward Snowden is one of the greatest patriots we've had in a long time, because he said what I think a lot of people were suspicious of already, that yes, Big Brother is reading your emails and so forth, but we didn't catch anybody by doing that. No one. We've gotten zero useful intelligence.
Speaking of zero useful intelligence, Hillary, her email. No, I just bring that because I'm sorry, I joke around a lot. You'll get used to it. Her email issue. A guy, one of her aides, I think, just got
immunity. Yeah.
Did he get amnesty to speak up against?
He got immunity. Yeah.
He got immunity. All right, say amnesty. Sorry, I'm stuck on Rubio. Yeah, he got immunity, right?
Yeah.
So what I heard was true. Okay. All right. So maybe Sanders has a shot now.
That's true.
He gets locked up.
That could be true on both sides. I mean, Trump is wanted for fraud in now two attorney generals, California and New York, are investigating the Trump University. That's not a university. And now the feds are investigating also. So, yeah, we could end up, it would be real easy on the Democrat side because you'd only have one person left.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because there is an attorney in Houston that brought a lawsuit about Ted Cruz, still on the issue of natural-born citizen, which hasn't been settled. And then what are we going to do with the Supreme Court? Because it seems that they can actually go ahead and hear the case just with eight justices, with Justice Kennedy acting as the, I guess, kind of interim Chief Justice.
Yeah, they can. And there's also there's that guy in Florida who wanted to bring that against Cruz.
Yes.
As well. He's the guy who's the millionaire congressman whose children are on welfare stamps. I don't know how he worked it, but he figured it.
So you know what? Maybe Rubio and Kasich have a shot after all.
never know. You never know. You heard that Trump did not attend the CPAC. He didn't go to the CPAC. He went campaigning instead.
Right.
I heard recently someone, a friend of mine is also a reporter. He told me it's like there's something that their concern was that Cruz's supporters were going to walk out if Trump was to go up there and speak just to make him look bad. And then Trump got wind of it, and then he said, "I'm just going campaigning." And
I really wonder if a lot of that's been going on too, because remember Trump made the same accusation of Jeb Bush, that he had paid hecklers in the audience.
But the thing is, it's gotten to that level. Seriously.
Again, back to kindergarten. Mine's bigger than yours.
I don't know if you recall, but Jeb Bush earlier in the year, actually last year, was having people paid to be there.
Well, that's what Trump said, that Bush had paid hecklers paid to boo him.
People to be there, go, yay, Bush.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and meanwhile, on the Hillary camp, you heard what happened in Nevada, because in Nevada, which Hillary won, Bernie had the support of the nurses union in Nevada. And according to rumors that were out there, apparently there were fake nurses showing up in nurses' uniform, which right there, it's like, it was on a weekend, wasn't it? Like, who would, go to the polls dressed in your work clothes? But apparently a bunch of people showed up dressed in nurses' uniforms, carrying Hillary signs and stuff to give the impression that they were supporting Hillary, which actually was not the case. The nurses' union in Nevada supported Bernie Sanders. So it's like, again, it's like, what are we in kindergarten? I mean, when I'm elected to student council, I'm promising free pizza every day. I mean, this is what it's pathetic.
It really is.
It's like, this is the kind of stuff, I love Trevor Noah when he said this is the kind of stuff you'd expect to see in Africa when they had, Uganda just had their elections, and apparently the ballots for the other guy in the area where he was strong didn't show up until after the polls closed. Like, this is the kind of silly, childish nonsense that you wouldn't expect in a country that's prided itself in having a democracy for a couple hundred years. This is, it's like we've become a banana republic. It's heartbreaking, and
it is. It's just like.
And on that note, that's the time we have for today. But we will next time we got to talk about this environment, this conversation, this debate.
Oh, I thought we were going till 8.
No.
Oh, nuts.
Yep. So
I got some good stuff on this cow stuff.
So let's go for it next time. Thank you so much. Again, we have Soledad, we have Dean. Thank you so much for your brilliance, and check us out on Facebook, Politrixx. That's POLITRIXX, and then of course you go to SCVnetwork.com. All right. Have a good one.
Good night, everybody.
bye.